Hey everybody, welcome in. It is Kim Sminky of Lolly Doodle Studios, Widow on Fire. I am coming live. I am coming live as part of the Thankful, Grateful, Blessed event. Thanks to Angie at Angie's Crafty. I always butcher this, Angie. I don't know what is wrong with my brain lately. Um, Hold on just 1 second. My computer is freezing up. Am I freezing up on your end, guys? Sorry, maybe some technical difficulties happening here. Crafty Blessings with Angie's Crafty Friends. I'm so sorry for that slight delay. It just gives a second so that Angie can share me into the group where all of the talented ladies have been presenting today. If you have not caught them, please go over, join the group, and join in. There's some pretty cool projects happening there. So I am in my kitchen again tonight, and I wanted to share with you some ideas that I have to dress up your table for Thanksgiving. So you just watched me. I'm just opening up this piece of craft paper from, you can get it at the dollar store. I think this one I got at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, only because they were out of it at the dollar store. So I love all things organic and rustic this season, and I'm just gonna cut this in half just for ease of us here tonight. So first of all, let me just thank you all for being here. Now, when you imagine doing this, imagine your table, and it's going to run the whole length of your table. Longwise, sideways, you can even crisscross it. For tonight, though, just for speed and space reasons, I'm going to go ahead. I'm using that middle part of my table here to kind of mark it off. Thank you for the hearts, guys. If you followed me, you know I'm an artist, a modern calligrapher. I'm also a widow. But I absolutely love color. I love the use of color in my art. I use a lot of color. But sometimes when it comes to my home, and just depending on the mood, I'm really fallen in love with all things organic and maybe not quite so bright and colorful. And when I think of the Thanksgiving season, I always tend to lean towards the organic, you know, the colors that we find in nature, and trying to keep things natural. Guys, thank you so much for those hearts. So I've got my brown paper cut, and it's cut down. So you could do that as well if you don't want it real wide, but run it the whole length of your table, leaving enough to hang over the edge of your table. And really, like I said, you can get these brown paper craft rolls at the dollar store. I'm going to just put a brown bag under it just in case my marker bleeds through, so keep that in mind as well. So I'm putting underneath of that a brown bag and Sharpie. That's all we really need to do this craft. And then I'll show you a few ways that you can dress it up, different ways to dress it up. Hold on, I can hear myself on the other computer and it's totally distracting me so that I can see comments, but it's totally distracting me. So anyway, all you really need for this is a Sharpie and a paper bag. And we're going to letter some wording onto this. You can be as simple or as extravagant as you want. I am going to hand letter it, but I also wanted to share this tip. To do this, you do not need to know how to do any type of calligraphy. You can print it out on your own print. You can go on the computer, find a font, print it out, and here I want you to listen to this part right here, because if you want to make your words really, really big, take it over, print out the saying that you want to do, and I'll link the name of this site, and I get nothing for telling you guys about it. It's just something that's came in handy for me, and it's called Block Poster. You can take something this size and blow it up depending on how big you want it. Block Poster will do the work for you. Download it, you print it out, and then you can put it on your paper, transfer it, you know, put your graphite, this is just graphite paper. You could put your graphite paper under it, trace it on there, and then fill it in with paint or Sharpie. So you guys know, if not, I am a modern calligrapher, hand letterer, whatever you'd like to refer to it as. I started doing that after my husband passed away, and I quit because I did not feel that I was any good at it. You know, you see all these people online and their lettering looks so gorgeous, and I just could not seem to catch the hang of it with the fancy markers that they use and all that jazz. But being an artist, I started teaching myself to do it with the paint brush, and I found that much easier. So a lot of my work you'll see me do with paint and a paintbrush. But where I'm going with that is, if you want to learn hand lettering, you can learn from me, you can learn from anyone out there. But there is no secret tip. There is no secret to getting good at it except for good old practice. All right, so I'm gonna take the bottom part of my paper that would be hanging over the table. You can leave it as is. You can get fancy scissors and cut fun fancy shapes out of it. I'm just gonna take my corners, and you're not even gonna see it. I could just leave it the way it is, but I wanted to give you guys some different ideas and options. So you can fold it into like a nice pennant shape with the triangle there, and just fold it up. You know, go around the back, tape that down or whatever you need to do. But it just gives it a nice little finished edge so it doesn't look like plain old brown paper. So then imagine if this were twice the width, you would just write really, really, really big. Excuse me. But I'm just going to use this small size so that it's all in the camera, and I like it narrow as well. So you can just cut your paper right in half and use the length of it and not have it quite so wide. So here's a little tip. If you can't get a hang of those fancy brush pens, the markers, or even the paint brush, I always teach the first most important thing, just like when you're building a house, is that the foundation has to be good. If you don't like the way you're writing before picking up the fancy pens, you're not gonna like the way that you write afterward. So you have to kind of find your style, create your own style, but you can just use your regular old handwriting. So what I mean by good bones, and that's where that faux calligraphy comes in. And I know you've seen it so many times before, But when I letter like this, it looks nothing at all like my daily writing for work, signing my name. You just have to kind of look at each letter as if it were its own work of art. Picture in your head what you want the letters to look like. And go from there. If you're crafty, chances are you are. You can take something and create something. So you're taking something from your head space and putting it onto a canvas or a piece of wood, or you're creating a wreath that you've imagined or thought about in your head. And do the same thing with your lettering. Now, if I were to do a regular and in writing, it would be that one. But I have practiced and came up with different ways that I would like for it to look on my paper. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just writing thankful, and it's not even perfectly centered. I'm not worried about it. So thankful and blessed. So you kind of just have to stop and think and lift your pen in between each letter and think about what you want those letters to look like. Just like you do when you're painting or crafting or working on whatever craft it is that you enjoy doing, right? So we have that very basic there. You can take it up a notch by coming in with your Sharpie. Now let's focus right in here on the T. So I've got my foundation. This is my foundation. Just like a house, I've got my foundation. This is what I want it to look like. I'm going to start building upon my foundation, just like a house, right? So I'm going to follow these lines where I would be going downward with my hand. I'm going to block almost like little rectangles, and I'm just going to bump that letter and make it thicker. So then you can take your Sharpie, you can take a pen, a pencil, crayons even work. You don't need all the fancy stuff to make something pretty. You can round off the edges. You don't have to have any sharp edges. Now, if you did this on the computer and took it from a font on the computer, it's the same way. You're then going to go back in with your marker and you're going to color in. You're going to color in the outlines, and you can thicken up the letters. You can go really thick and bold if that's what you like. Sorry, my dogs are in here trying to get into stuff. So while I'm doing this, I kind of want to hear from you guys. How do you usually set your table, if you do, for Thanksgiving? Are you one to pull out the fancy china, the fancy plates, to take the time to set a pretty table? Because you can still have a pretty table using chinette. I don't care what anybody says. There's something within me. I mean, we didn't grow up with a lot, but the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, Easter, those holiday dinners were special. There was just something very special and sacred about them. That was when Mom would say, go over to the china cabinet, and we would pull out all of her special china, her china that she had when she got married. And I always used to love that time of the year. There was just something so special about being able to use those pretty dishes. We weren't fancy. You know, we didn't have a fancy dining room with all the bells and whistles. We ate in the kitchen, but we set it up. And my sister and I would find objects from around the house. You know, we would gather sticks and things like that from the backyard. And, you know, we would put candles on the table and try to set the table. And it was just, there was something very special. Something very, very special about those holiday dinners. And to this day, I think that's why, this computer, I think that's why to this day, it just still means so much to me to set a pretty table. Thank you for spreading the love. I'm just getting comments, guys. Hey, Michelle, Michelle Carlin. Hello, everybody. Melissa Rose, Cindy, Yvonne. Oh, well, welcome. If you are new to my page, welcome. Angie, thank you for the stars. What a blessing. Shannon, Teresa. I'm so sorry. The comments just decided to come through on my end. But yeah, I kind of want to know, like, what was your experience growing up? If you have any special memories that you hold dear, that, you know, tradition, any special traditions that you did for certain holidays, you know, because many times, many nights we ate off of paper plates, and, you know, dinner could have been hot dogs and beans, but there was just something so sacred, I guess. It's almost sacred to me that the holidays are nice. And I guess the fact that I am so crafty, I know that having something pretty and nice does not always equate to expensive and store-bought. So I always love to come up with creative little ideas, and I want to start sharing more of those with you guys. You know, I guess the older I get, those memories mean even more and more and more to me now. Let's see if it'll let me down to the new comments. Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. Angie, you decorate and make beautiful memories with your kids. Absolutely. This idea, don't get me wrong, you could do this real pretty thing and put it on the table, but then guess what? You know, the kids always get a little fidgety. Put a box of crayons out and let them color while they eat. Just let them explore their creativity. Ask them to draw colorful leaves, or, you know, ask them to write the things that they're thankful for. I mean, that's another idea with this. You could ask people, whether you just eat with your small family, or you gather with friends and extended family. That's always just, isn't it that special time of year where we do go around the table, and sometimes we laugh about it, but we go through the table and we share, you know, what is one thing that you are grateful for or thankful for. You know, and my family, and I'm sure yours as well, has seen a lot of loss over the years, and we've seen a lot of empty chairs at the table. You know, and the older we get, you know, the more that just, for lack of a better word, just freaking sucks. But what better way to just take the time out and just really, Thanksgiving holiday has got to be fancy. I just, fancy, and as I say, the term fancy does not have to mean expensive, but just thought put into it for us. You know, I'm one of those people. I like old rustic wood paired with lace. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate them. Rustic paired, you know, farmhouse. I used to say my style is farmhouse glam. Oh, there's a mosquito. I love brown paper bags paired with white lace. You know, a crystal chandelier with, like I said, the old and the new, that beautiful mix of old and new, store-bought and homemade. I love that. Life has so many, I guess it's called polar, like so many, like polar opposites, and I love that mix. So I know some people might say, you're really going to dress your table with brown paper bag. Well, yes, I am. And as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to show you a few ways that I like to think out of the box and use what I already have on hand. Some store-bought, some from my craft stash, and how I would dress up my little table. Even if it is just myself and the kids, or my sister's family. But I just cherish those memories. I would love to just hear one special memory from each of you that are watching. There's something that, a special memory that you carry to this day with you. Doesn't have to be Thanksgiving related. You know, a special person. Put their name in the comments. You know, I'm big on that. Say their name. Empty chairs are, unfortunately, a part of life that we all experience at some point in time. All right, so that I would do now both sides. I would do this both sides and hang it over the table, so it's on both ends of the table. There wasn't much hard there, and like I said, that's just my basic lettering. I went through and colored it in. If you were to look really close, it is not perfect. It's not perfectly centered, but it's just special. Do this if you have a special poem. Write the whole poem right down the table on the brown paper. There are so many different ways that you could do and use this idea. So I'm just gonna remove my bag. I still have quite a bit of time, so we'll play around with this a little bit more. But I want to show you a couple of ways that I could dress up my table for Thanksgiving. The first would be, and I wouldn't set it on this, this would be hanging over the edge of the table. And let me do that now. I'll just pull it down and have it hanging over the edge of the table. Okay, so you kind of get it. I picked these up a few years ago, and again, it's that natural, they're not wicker. I guess it's the same material, made in India. Jute. So this is a jute placemat, okay? And as I said, we're pretty simple. This is just a plate from my kitchen cabinet. So I would put my white plate on there, okay? So, you know, my table's brown, my runner's brown, my jute's brown. It's kind of brown, right? It's kind of brown. So I also have these flour sacks. They're just white flour sack towels. Nothing special on them. So what I was thinking that I could do is take this, place it right underneath of there. And actually, yep, I'm good. I'm gonna place it right underneath of there. So that's just gonna kind of pop. It's gonna make the whole thing pop. Trying to center it so you guys can see. I know it's kind of straight up and down and you're getting a nice view of my ceiling. So that's one way. And then I could take and I can fold that in and maybe place a little pumpkin, right? And I would have the silverware and a cup and all that kind of stuff. So that's way number one. Okay. Then I was thinking I could take a piece of ribbon from my craft stash, which has all those soft fall colors. It's not a wired ribbon. It's just a nice soft piece of ribbon. And I just love the colors in that for fall. And again, Dollar Tree find. So I was just at the Dollar Tree and let me cut it. I found this piece of fake eucalyptus, right? Now, if you got the real stuff, go ahead and use it. I personally can't stand the smell of it. Worked in a florist for long enough that I know I don't like the smell of it, right? So then just look at that, right? So it's just, it's all that tonal, which I love. I absolutely love. So we got the tone on tone. I could remove that. And right here above me, a friend of mine gave me massive blooms of hydrangea this year from her bushes. So I could add a touch of nature to my table. I love that look as well. All right. So I'm going to remove these things. I want to show you another thought that I had instead of using this. You could use like one of those really pretty chargers. Like they come in all different colors. You can get them at the Dollar Tree, the gold and silver and all the fun colors. This is a wooden breadboard. I'll show you. It's from the spring collection. So yes, I did wipe out my Hobby Lobby. I love a good breadboard, cutting board. So I picked these up. They were on clearance. They still have them now in the fall section. So, and you know, you guys know fall goes on sale at Hobby Lobby like every other week. And it will be going on clearance soon. So keep your eye out for that. So I thought, well, how pretty would this be? I'll take off the sticker, and I'm gonna I could use that as my charger, right? So each person could have one of these under their plate as their charger. Then I thought that flour sack, I could bring that back, okay? Lay it across the plate. Then I could take that pretty ribbon that I have. Here are some faux berries. I could do all of it. I could use that piece of faux eucalyptus, the faux berries, lay it there. I could flip the ribbon and just leave the ribbon underneath, just plain like that, kind of makes it pop. Or I could take the ribbon, tie a little bow on it, or just tie a little bitty knot there. It just sets for a nice table, okay? Now, sticking with the hand lettering theme of things, oh, I wanted to show you this too. Like I said, if we're not going to do this sort of thing and we're eating with Chinette, there's nothing wrong with that. I just went and found these down at the $1.25 store. And I love the pumpkins and the blue that are in this as well. So it's just a paper napkin. I could set that on the plate. It doesn't have to cost a lot to look pretty. I could set my pumpkin. I'll use my orange pumpkin with that one. You could set that on there. So there's so many different ways, and it just looks so pretty with that brown paper runner underneath of there. Don't even have to have a charger, okay? We'll take the charger off. You don't even have to have the charger. Okay, so, I mean, it just looks pretty no matter what you do. So sticking with the hand-lettered theme, I know I'm getting close to being out of time. Dollar store was just there. I found these frames. I love gold, I love brown, I love gold, I love all of the natural colors together. Quick tip, these don't have to be used for photos. So what I like to do is I can pop this out. You can cut out a piece, you could use the brown paper, you could cut out a piece of white cardstock, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to flip it over and use the back of the paper that was already in there. So, all right, so if I'm going to set a table, let's see, I have an aunt. I'll use her name. So the same way we lettered thankful and blessed, I can come in here and just write the person's name who's going to sit at that place on the table. So I have an aunt and her name is Phyllis, one of my last aunts. I can leave it just as is, or I can go in and thicken some of those downstrokes with my Sharpie. Okay, so you get that drift. I can use that. Then guess what? I'm going to come back over. I'm going to pop it back in the back of the frame here. Put the little thing in there. And look, you don't even have to do names. You guys are crafty, and I'm sure you've picked up a lot of tips today. Paint a little pumpkin on some watercolor paper. Pop it inside of the frame. Okay. Take the plate. So I'm going to grab my charger again, or my placemat. I'm going to put my placemat down with my plate right back on top of it. Can lay a piece of dried colored baby's breath there. Very simple. And all right, and then I could lay her napkin, which is just those flour sacks. I could just set her little photo frame, sans the hair, right on the plate, right on top. Tuck a little piece of dried floral in there. Okay, if you really want to go with that bright pop of something, I can go ahead and use. You don't have to have dried hydrangea. You can get hydrangea at the craft store. Looks just as beautiful. And layer that on the plate. I absolutely love the look of this. This is a little bit of that mix of rustic, elegant with the gold frame. And then I had one more quick little idea to show you, because this can go through the seasons, this whole idea here. So I can leave the hydrangea, I can remove the hydrangea, doesn't matter, right? So this is going to be one of the hot colors, so they say, for the Christmas fall season. So I was at the Hobby Lobby, picked up this beautiful, like, I don't want to say it's emerald, but it is a deep, deep luxe velvet ribbon, and it's just labeled green. Okay, so you can really dress it up by laying, and you can lay this completely underneath of the whole place setting. run this right down the center of your table. You don't even have to cut it. So it's just right in the middle of your brown bag. Place your charger right on top. And you've got a really pretty kind of table dressed with that velvet ribbon. So you've got that juxtaposition of, let me get rid of that. You've got that whole rustic, elegant look there, which is, I know some people love it, some people hate it, but I absolutely love the different types of boho decor because of the organicness of it and so many different ways you can use it. So I know I still have about 10 more minutes, but that's about all that I have for tonight. You could even run the ribbon right across there. Place a pumpkin, like see there's some greens with the pumpkin, and then place your frame. Place your frame on there, and everything, it just looks so pretty. So guys, thank you for joining me and joining all of the talented artists today. Angie will be up after me. There's a link in my bio that will take you straight to the group where you'll be able to catch Angie live in about 9 minutes. If you don't already, I would love to have you like and follow me here on the page. I do art tutorials, lettering tutorials, and you'll be seeing a lot more of this type of thing because every day is an occasion. Every day is a reason to celebrate. And I just want to enjoy every single day that I have here on this planet. We have so much to be thankful for. Every day should be celebrated. So with that, guys, thank you for joining me. I will be live again here on my page on Sunday evening. So with a Halloween craft, so you could join me for that as well. Sprinkle the love, and don't forget to go over into the craft group and follow all of the talented artists in today's event. I hope you like this. I love you guys. Have a safe weekend and get crafty. Bye.